You're not bad with money. You've just never once thought about it without pressure in the room. Perhaps you've never heard it put this way, but that feeling, the small flinch every time you check the balance, the sense that other people handle this part of life more easily than you do, that somewhere along the way, you missed a basic competence everyone else picked up. That feeling isn't evidence that something is wrong with you. It's evidence that a low, constant hum of money worry is running in the background, right now, quietly using up the exact part of your mind you'd need to fix it. And the less money you have, the more of it gets used up, which is the part nobody accounts for. Think about the last time money was tight, not dramatic, just tight. The rent due before the money's in. Notice what your mind did. It didn't calmly weigh options. It tunneled. It locked onto the pressing thing and everything else. The long-term plan, the bigger opportunity, the patient decision went quiet, out of reach. That isn't a character flaw. It's what attention does under pressure. It's like trying to read a book in a room where a television is on. You can technically do it. You'll just get to the bottom of the page and realize you took none of it in. Nothing is broken. Your attention is simply somewhere else, and you don't get to choose where. That's what money pressure does to thinking. You cannot weigh the smart 5-year move while part of your brain is running the rent and the food and the thing due Thursday on a loop you can't switch off. 2 researchers gave this a name. They called it a tax on your mental bandwidth. The idea is simple, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Worrying about money isn't free. It runs on the same machinery you'd use to plan, to decide, well, to see the whole board. So the more money pressure you're under, the less of that machinery is left for anything else, including the decisions that would get you out. You already know the shape of this. You can't think about caviar when you can't afford bread. Of course you can't. That's not stupidity. That's your attention doing exactly what it is built to do. Go to the fire. And here is where it turns cruel, because it feeds itself. Money pressure takes some of your thinking. With less thinking available, you make worse decisions. The rushed one, the small safe one, the one you'd never make with a clear head. Those decisions cost you money. And now there is less money, so there is more pressure, which takes more of your thinking, which produces the next bad decision. Round and round, every turn tightening. And from the inside, all you can see is the outcome. You don't see the pressure eating your capacity. You only see the string of decisions you'd be embarrassed to explain. So you draw the obvious conclusion, I must be bad at this. That conclusion is the loop's most effective defense, because a person who believes the problem is their character stops looking for the mechanism. So the first thing to do is look at this from a completely different angle. You are not making poor money decisions because you're bad at money. You're making them because you're trying to make them with the part of your mind that money pressure has already taken. You are being asked to solve the problem using the exact tool the problem is jamming. For years I worked in finance, watching people make decisions, and a clear pattern emerged. The same person, genuinely sharp, would make a clean decision one month and a scattered one the next. And the only thing that had changed was how much pressure they were under when they decided. Now, the harder part. The part you had a hand in. At some point, the tunneling stopped feeling like pressure and started feeling like good judgment. You turned down the training course that cost money now, but would have paid off later, and called it being careful. You stayed in the role you'd outgrown because the pay was certain, and called it being realistic. You didn't put the small amount anywhere it could grow because it wasn't enough to matter, and called that being responsible. Each one felt like the safe choice in the moment. Each one was the scarcity reflex, wearing the costume of a good decision. And the most expensive ones are the decisions you never noticed making. You don't apply for the better job, not because you decided not to. You never actually decided. You glanced at it, felt the cost of the risk, and moved on to the thing that was due today. The urgent thing won, the way it always does. And you told yourself you'd look again later. That's the price being collected. Not in a dramatic mistake. In a door you walked past because your mind was full. And this doesn't lift when the salary does. The drain doesn't disappear when you start earning well. The numbers just get bigger. I'll be honest, I still catch myself doing it. I'll want to book a holiday I know I need and can afford. And instead of deciding, I'll circle it. For weeks, I'll find reasons why now isn't quite the right time, why next month would be smarter. And when I look at those reasons properly, none of them are reasons. They're the flinch, dressed up as good judgment. The money was never the problem. It was that I couldn't put the question down long enough to answer it. That's the loop inside the loop. Scarcity taught you reflexes that were completely correct when the money really could run out. Then it convinced you those reflexes were your personality. So even when there's a little room now, a little slack, you keep making the scarcity move. Because it stopped feeling like fear a long time ago. It just feels like who you are with money. It isn't. It's a price you've paid so long, you stopped noticing you were being charged for it. So, how do you get out of this? Not by thinking harder. That's the one thing that cannot work. The whole problem is that the thinking part is already occupied. Telling yourself to focus better is like telling someone who hasn't slept to just concentrate. The resource isn't there to summon. You get out a different way. You carry less. Here's what's actually happening in your head. It's like standing at a stove with every burner lit. The unpaid thing. The number you keep rechecking. The "can I afford this?" you relitigate 10 times a day and never resolve. You're watching all of them at once so that nothing boils over. And that is exactly why you can't step away to think. The moment you do, something burns. That's the drain. Not any single worry. The number of them running at the same time. So you don't fix your mindset. You turn burners off. Every money worry you can get out of your head and into the world stops charging you. The payment you automate isn't just organized. It's a worry that no longer runs on a loop because you're no longer the one holding it. The number you finally write down stops circling because it's on paper instead of in your attention. The bill you actually open instead of avoiding stops draining you in the background because avoidance is expensive. The thing you are not looking at costs more of your mind than the thing you have looked at and contained. Start with the loudest one. There is usually a single worry doing most of the damage. The rent, the one debt, the thing you think about at 2 a.m. You don't have to solve it. You have to contain it, face it, name the real number, decide the next single step. Then notice how much quieter your head gets, and give yourself the conditions to do this properly. Pick the moment you decide, not at 11 p.m. in front of a red balance, where every reflex is the scarcity one, but when there's enough quiet for your mind to actually be present. You're not fixing the problem by stepping back. You're just refusing to make your most important decisions in the exact moment your mind is racing. Because here is what the recovered clarity is for. Not so you feel better, so you can think, so that the decisions that actually build money finally get made with your whole mind in the room. The raise you ask for, instead of the one you keep planning to ask for. The better job you apply for, instead of the tab you close. The money you finally move out of the account where it's safe and going nowhere, into something that grows because you had enough quiet to think clearly about risk instead of just flinching away from it. Those are the decisions that compound, and every single one of them was sitting there, available the whole time. They were never blocked by a lack of discipline. They were blocked by a mind too loaded to reach them. If you've felt this loop, that's what this channel is for. The psychology underneath money, one video at a time. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Scarcity's deepest cost was never the money. It was that it kept your mind too loaded to make the one decision that would have improved the money. You were never bad with money. You were carrying too much of it in your head to think clearly about any of it. The way out isn't more discipline. It's less load on your mind. Turn the burners off one at a time, starting with the loudest, until there is enough quiet in there to hear the decision that has been waiting for you to have the room to make it. The price was real. It was only ever charging you because you didn't know you were being charged. Now you do.